Now I might look straight down the middle there. Is that a straight down the middle there? Okay, all right. Good morning everybody. It's great to be here in Springfield for the first day of Small Business Month. We know that small business is the backbone of our local economies. They employ nearly 1 million Queenslanders, and we know in the last year they have been hit quite hard by COVID. When the pandemic first kicked in, this government backed small business to the hilt with $200 million in grants, no interest loans and a whole range of other supports and subsidies. During the election, we announced another boost for small business with a $140 million Big Plans for Small Business initiative. And at the beginning of this year, I travelled around the state and spoke to businesses in 17 different locations right across Queensland to say, where are you at now and what do you need from the government? And this has influenced the way we will support business and allocate those funds. So today I announced $25 million in grants for small business, which will help new and emerging businesses. Some of them are people who've lost their jobs during COVID and are starting out fresh, which will help businesses who are surviving and they're going to go okay, but they need a bit of support. And then it'll also help those businesses who are growing. And there are a lot of them. There are a lot of businesses doing really well across this state, and we want to help them to grow and we want to help them to employ more Queenslanders. So that's the start of Small Business Month, and there are lots of events happening right across this state to showcase how well Queensland small businesses are doing. But there's another milestone for small business today, and I'm going to hand over to Minister Enoch to talk about that.
Thank you so much. And of course, Small Business Week and Small Business Month is an incredibly important month in the calendar for Queensland when we get to celebrate and elevate our conversations about small business. But today, of course, is a very important milestone or deadline for many small businesses, particularly those in pubs, clubs, cafes and restaurants, as it now is mandatory to utilise the Queensland Check In app. Queensland businesses have been embracing the Queensland Check In app across the state with more than 32,000 registrations, and of course Queenslanders are loving it. We've seen more than 2.4 million downloads of the Queensland Check In app and over 18 million check-ins across Queensland since the app was first initiated. And of course that has equated to the Queensland Check In app being the #1 free app on both Google Play and Apple platforms in Australia for the last couple of weeks. So that is a huge achievement by everybody. And of course it's an incredibly important app in that we know that our ability to contact trace really quickly gives us the best chance to be able to manage small breakouts, and we've seen that just recently where the short, sharp lockdown gives us that chance to be able to utilise our incredibly talented contact tracers, and the information that's provided by the Queensland Check In app gives us the best possible chance to be able to move as quickly as possible to contact all those people who may have come in contact, and of course ensure that we're able to get back to normal as quickly as possible. And I want to congratulate every Queenslander for the incredible work that we've been doing all together to be able to manage COVID-19. The Queensland Check In app is yet another tool in our ability to continue to open up our economy, to support small businesses, and of course support Queensland getting back to normal. And of course everybody knows that the Queensland Check In app is incredibly easy to use. It's easy to download. You literally have to enter your details just once into the app, and then after that it's simply a snap and go sort of procedure. And of course if you're not able to, if you don't have a smartphone, then businesses have an ability to be able to register you through their own part of the app. And of course you can check other people in from your family. So it's an incredibly easy app. Today it becomes mandatory for all hospitality businesses, so it's cafes, clubs, pubs, and of course restaurants, and that all equates to this being a safer, easier way to be able to contact trace and, of course, get on top of COVID-19. But I'll hand over to Scylla because we're here at Brookfield Golf Course and they've been using the Check In app, and I know that people who've been frequenting here know that this is a really easy way to be able to check in, and I know Scylla's been using it here as well. So over to you, Scylla.
Yeah, so from today, Check In Queensland app is mandatory for all hospitality venues in Queensland. We've been using it for the last couple of weeks already, and our patrons are very happy with the app because you don't have to type in your details every time you visit a different venue. It is literally scan, press sign in, and you are done. Especially easy for people as well who are not very smartphone friendly, because you don't have to every time type in repetitive details, and you can check in your family and you can check in your friends if they've forgotten their phone. And as a venue owner, it means we no longer have to have any contact tracing on paper, and we don't have to pay for our third-party app. And also, we are no longer responsible of keeping the data safe, which has been a big problem for some small businesses. So as a small business owner, I proudly supported the app, and it has definitely made our life so much easier. Thanks.
Thank you. Good morning. I'm Cherise Mullen, MP. I'm the State Member for Jordan, and welcome to Brookwater. And it's a beautiful golf club here. And I'm really so thrilled to have Minister Farmer and Minister Enoch here in the electorate for the start of Small Business Month. In my electorate, we've just had a fantastic breakfast with so many wonderful local small business owners, because I know that in my electorate, 97% of all business is small business. They are the lifeblood of our community. They're the important part of our economy. And I was thrilled today to hear the Minister speak about the new small business grants. They are going to be so popular here in our community with our small business owners, and anything we can do to support small business is absolutely vital. So thank you all for being here.
Well, good morning, everybody. My name's Lance McCallum. I'm the State Member for Bundamba, and happy Small Business Month. It's fantastic to have Minister Enoch and Minister Farmer here today in Ipswich to launch the new $25 million support package for our local small businesses here in Ipswich, as well as right across Queensland. Our small businesses have been so resilient throughout the pandemic, and it's been a real testament to the strength of our small business community and their employees, that they've been able to meet the challenges of COVID and not only survive but thrive going forward. So today's $25 million funding announcement will help the local small business community here and right across Queensland grow back stronger and better than ever before. Today also marks the 1st of May, which is the day that it becomes mandatory to use our fantastic and simple Queensland Check In app. And congratulations to Brookwater Country Club for hosting a fantastic breakfast, and I know that everybody checked in easily and safely using our app, which is now mandatory in all hospitality businesses right across Queensland from today. Thank you.
Any questions?
Yeah, just on the app, Mr. Enoch. So more than 32,000 registrations. Do you have a target of what you're aiming for? And I guess businesses will want to know, if they don't register, are they going to cop a fine, for instance?
Yeah, well, obviously there has been a health directive, so the Chief Health Officer has made that very clear, that from today it is mandatory for hospitality businesses to be utilising the Queensland Check In app. We've been working very closely with businesses right across Queensland to ensure that they're able to easily register for the Queensland Check In app. And certainly when you see the number, over 32,000 businesses have already registered, that is a good sign. However, the health directive is very clear, and so that will continue to be, of course, a source of conversation with hospitality businesses going forward.
Will it be a matter of going around and checking each business, or how many?
Yeah, so the health directive, of course, is very clear, and there will be some compliance work that will be happening with businesses across Queensland, and there'll be multiple agencies involved in that.
So will that be a fine if the business doesn't have the app?
So all of the details about the directive are in the Chief Health Officer's direction, and that's being uploaded to the website, as I understand now.
How many small businesses are registered in Queensland not to be app? How many small businesses?
I wouldn't be able to tell you that. I'm not the small business minister.
And there are still a lot of people that have those third-party contracts. Any, word on whether if they're locked into contracts, they'll be compensated, or I guess what's the incentive for them to get off that agreement and then register for this app?
Yeah, well, obviously, what we've seen, particularly at the very beginning of COVID and our need to be able to contact trace, many businesses across Queensland utilised different methods. And it became very clear very quickly, and it was a call from not just businesses but from Queenslanders to have a unified app similar to what we're seeing in other states. So we started that work with ACT to be able to fast track that for Queensland. It is mandatory to utilise the Queensland Check In app for hospitality businesses. That's where the mandatory ruling is as part of the health direction. And of course, businesses are required to use that app, and that's what we're asking them to do.
You mentioned how important it is for contact tracing. Do you think the bigger picture is that this might help play a role, I guess, in some way, preventing lockdowns in the future, because the contact tracers don't need that longer circuit breaker?
Yeah, well, obviously that's a matter for the Chief Health Officer, and we are always taking the Chief Health Officer's advice with regards to how we manage COVID-19 in this state. And let's be honest, we've done an incredible job in Queensland when you look at what's happening in other parts of the world, and I think I join with everybody in absolutely sending our heartfelt sympathies to and prayers to everybody in India, for instance, who are absolutely struggling with the virus there. We've done an incredible job here, and we follow the health advice at every step of the way. The Queensland Check In app absolutely will assist in ensuring that we have shorter, sharper lockdowns, but that will be, of course, at the direction of the Chief Health Officer. We know that good contact tracing helps a great deal, and that's why we've been able to see such successful 3-day lockdowns in recent times. And certainly that kind of ability to be able to trace in a really quick way has been a huge it's been a huge bonus in being able to stick to those very short, sharp lockdowns.
Unfortunately, there may still be a handful of patrons that refuse to use the app.
Well, of course, it is so easy to use. There really isn't any barrier for patrons to be able to utilise the app. And in terms of being able to have secure data, the data is secured not by a third party, but of course by the Queensland Government, and deleted within 56 days. So when you see some other apps where third parties have had to be utilised to be able to store that data as per the health directions, the Queensland Check In app is one that is far more secure in terms of being able to know exactly where the data is, and of course know that it will be deleted within 56 days. And as I said, it is incredibly easy to use. You download the app, you put your information in just that once, and then you utilise the QR code at the various venues, and you literally just snap and you go, and that's it. And you're able to certainly be able to make sure that you can put your family members in there as well. You can register them as if they've forgotten their phone or if they don't have a phone. I've certainly done that for my mum at certain times where she's left her phone behind, and I've been able to snap and then add other people that are with me, and that makes it easier for contact tracers to be able to reach family groups if necessary.
What happens if there's an individual donor that doesn't have a phone? Is there an opportunity?
Yeah, so if an individual donor doesn't have a phone or doesn't have a smartphone, then the businesses have got a capacity to be able to register them through an approach that we've been able to put within the app. So they can do that also and still utilise the security of the Check In Queensland app.
Just back to compliance, what is the consequence though for businesses who don't register?
Yeah, so Marlena, I'll just direct you to the Chief Health Officer's direction, and all of that information about compliance will be obviously on the website. We know that the health direction is very clear. It's like every other health direction. So there are various agencies that assist with compliance, including the Queensland Police Service. They're there to be able to assist in ensuring that compliance is upheld. But it is a health direction, just like every other health direction that the Chief Health Officer has put forward for Queensland.
Just got a question for Mr. Farmer. Are you looking at any lockdown-based support for small businesses? I know at the end of every 3-day lockdown, we're always seeing small businesses say how much it's impacted them compared to bigger businesses. Are you looking in the future at doing anything surrounding every time there's a lockdown, some financial support for small businesses?
Look, we work very closely with small businesses, particularly when those lockdowns occur, just to be aware of what their main issues are. And I think our main focus will be on making sure that the information that we get to small business during those periods, that we can get it to them quickly, that they know whether their business is actually going to be affected by it, by what advice they can give to their customers. That's going to be our main focus. But our real priority for these grants today are to help businesses not only to survive but to grow in the longer term. So I think there's a range of support we can provide to small business, and certainly my understanding of working very, very closely with small businesses in the last 6 months is that information is also key.
In regards to the grants, how do people apply? What's the sort of conditions and are they able to be employed, and what amount do they have to?
There are 3 levels of grant available, and we got a lot of advice from small business in the last few months about the way we need to structure those grants. Last year, when we released the adaption grants, we just needed to get that money out there. We announced the first $100 million and it was snapped up literally within hours, and in fact the full fund was expended within a couple of days. This year, as we structure the grants, we've really taken that feedback on board. So the first grant, which is our Business Growth Fund, and that's aimed at businesses who can actually expand and grow, and I've spoken to many of those across Queensland. Information about that grant is up on the website right now. However, it won't open until the 11th of May, and then successively right up until July we will open the other 2 grant rounds. And so there's Business Growth, which is for the businesses who can and are growing. There's the Business Basics, which is for the new and emerging businesses, and that will open at the end of May. And then we've got the Business Boost, Business Basics, Business Growth. So 3 different types of businesses in the terms of the way they're adapting to COVID, and they'll all get plenty of notice. There'll be information to tell them immediately about whether they're eligible or not, and our staff and our Business Queensland hotline is available every single day, every single hour, for people to just ring and ask what they need to do to access those grants.
And what was the amount that they're able to apply for?
So it depends on the level. So the Business Basics grant is for $5,000 with no matching funding required. The next one, the Business Boost, is for $15,000 and up to $15,000, and the Business Growth one is up to $50,000. But the eligibility criteria and all of those details will be on our website. I really encourage people to go to the website. As I said, the details for the Business Growth Fund are literally on the website right now.
Would this be the difference between a business potentially on the brink of shutting down and helping them stay afloat?
There are a lot of those businesses. We found in the roadshow there are 3 types of businesses. There are the businesses who are, quite frankly, going gangbusters. A lot of businesses said to us it's like Christmas every month, and they actually feel a bit embarrassed about saying that when they know there are businesses suffering. Then there are businesses who are going okay, but they need help to navigate, what's happening in the COVID and post-COVID economy. And then there are the businesses who just may not survive, and the demise of JobKeeper may be quite critical to that. Some businesses may have been kept afloat by JobKeeper alone. And so we want to offer those businesses the professional support to help them if they're just not going to survive, if they need to wind up their business, then we need to help them to make those decisions, to look after their staff if what they've got. And we already have those services available in our department, and we'll certainly be boosting those services.
I just had one more question on the app. Is this something Minister, the government would look at applying to other industries or beyond hospitality, for instance?
Well, obviously, in terms of hospitality, this was part of the Chief Health Officer's directive, and we've responded to that by establishing the Queensland Check In app. If the Chief Health Officer believes that this is something that is required for other businesses to assist in terms of managing COVID-19, then obviously we would respond to that. But certainly what we're seeing is that other businesses have already taken some preemptive measures with regards to registering for the Check In Queensland app. For instance, we're seeing, I know I'm going to various events and businesses that are not necessarily hospitality, but have also taken on the opportunity to have the Queensland Check In app there. Certainly if the Chief Health Officer believes that this is something that is required, then we will respond appropriately.
This is in your portfolio, this is that government question. The RACQ is calling on the federal government to upgrade Queensland roads and contribute $15 billion to try and reduce the death toll. Is that something the state government should do?
Well, I have no doubt that the Minister responsible, Minister Mark Bailey, will be having a close look at the RACQ's request of the federal government. But as we know, and the Premier says this very often, that of course we achieve a great deal more when we work together, and any federal government assistance, if the federal government remains in the tent in certain things, that would be very good.
Our road toll is quite concerning at the moment. Do you think the state government should?
Say that again, sorry?
The road toll, the death toll is quite concerning at the moment. Should the state government contribute something?
Yeah, well, obviously we already contribute a great deal across Queensland in terms of roads, road upgrades and road safety. And I know Minister Bailey has been an absolute champion in terms of ensuring that that funding has been rolling out right across Queensland. But of course, we continue to require the federal government to be good partners in all of that. Certainly not just in roads, but in other measures as well. As the Housing Minister, I certainly am calling on the federal government regularly to maintain a partnership with not just Queensland, but with other state and territory governments as well, to maintain their contribution to housing, particularly given where we're seeing ourselves right across the country at the moment.
I know this isn't your area, but do you know if there's an update on the Fiji travel and testing packages yesterday?
No, I don't have any upgrade on that, but certainly I think the Health Minister may have something to say about that later. Yeah. But I don't have anything about that right now. Thanks, everybody. Thanks very much. Thanks for coming along to Brookwater Golf Course, and try and say Brookwater and Springfield together and see how that goes. But thank you very much, everybody, for being here and for the fantastic announcements. So.